I've built something so amazing here and I'm on the brink of losing it all.
Made by Mitchell.
Made by Mitchell.
Made by Mitchell.
We're made by Mitchell.
They're made by Mitchell.
How do you go from a small town in the UK to making £2 million?
I thought it was a big dog. It's the first time I had over £100,000 in my bank account. And I spent it all. Who does that? When you start a brand, it is so expensive. The brand went completely dead. She said, do you want to carry this on? And I was like, you know what, this is my dream. Like, I want to carry this on.
Even as you, Mitchell, like, how are you doing? How are you handling everything that life is throwing at you?
When I was in school, my mum had quite a problem with alcohol. I think she just hit breaking point and then struggled, and I didn't get it, and I resented her for it for a very long time. But over the years, I've really grown to let that go.
How long did it take you to kind of get to that space?
We've done millions of orders just in the last year and a bit. Feet on the ground, head in the clouds. You can dream as big as you want, but you've just got to remember that there's a path that you need to follow.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the Wunmi Bello show. So I've got a question for you. How do you go from a small town in the UK to making £2 million? Silence, I know, it's like, how do we do that? Well, the guest I have today knows exactly just how to make that kind of number happen. Now, it's not all just about the money, it's about the process, and that is what we are talking about today. It's about going from being in a small town and being able to literally do what is called a world domination, which is what he is doing with his brand. If you've been anywhere online for even just 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, I promise you, you have heard of his brand. I'm here with none other than Mitchell, the creator of Made by Mitchell.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It is such an honor to be here.
No.
And you look so beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm so excited to do this.
Oh no, this is like, again, I've done a few podcasts
Yeah.
recently. Like, it's something that I've never really stepped into, but I've done them recently, and I'll be honest, this was one that I've been so excited, kind of nervous for, but like mostly excited for, because I feel like the conversations you have are so important to everyone that listens, but also just so, they're not common conversations that happen, and I think that to me is something that I always try and prioritize.
No, I love that. I think even before we like switched the cameras on, just the conversation we were having, I was thinking, that's actually why I had to leave the room, because I was like, if I stay in here any longer, we'll talk too much, and then I won't be.
I'm off.
Do you know what I mean? I literally left the room. I was like, I'll be back in like 20 minutes, and So before we get into the proper conversation, I like to play a little game with my guests where it's just to loosen things up a little bit. It's called This or That, so you get the gist. It's like this.
Yeah.
All that, you know. All right, so first question. London or Manchester?
Manchester, come on.
You
Come
didn't
on
even
now.
Blush or foundation?
Ooh, blush.
Music or business?
That is hard. Music.
Ooh. PDA or private relationship?
Oh, I like PDA.
Okay,
I think appreciate me in public.
Okay, me too.
Yeah,
Usually
I like
everyone's like, no, not to PDA.
Yeah,
like, absolutely not.
I get it to a certain extent, but yeah, I like to be appreciated.
Yeah. Do you find it easy being with someone who doesn't, say if you're with a partner who doesn't really like being, who doesn't love PDA?
I think, so my partner that I'm with now, Connor, so he is a bit more of a private person. So I think when a private person meets someone that has lived the life for the past 10 years, just online, where you're so used to sharing things, I think that there has to be a bit of compromise on both sides. So I think it is just the compromise that goes into it, but I think that also is a part of anything in life. So I probably did find it hard at first. We've been together over 3 years now, but I think we've found a good balance of it. And I think I've kind of turned him over to the PDA side as well.
See, I think once the love is there, the PDA just becomes a little bit more natural.
And it's natural, exactly. If it's not natural, don't do it, but yeah, if it's natural and you feel like you want to hold someone's hands or you want to kiss someone in public right there, be in the moment, do it. Why not? Why think about what other people are thinking?
Exactly, like just exist and enjoy your relationship. Speaking of relationships though, obviously I think one of the core reasons why I even got you on this sofa is because you know my partner very well.
Yes, I do.
We were literally having a conversation, we were together and he had said something, he was like, oh my gosh, like a friend of mine who I've gone to coffee with, like he was someone who would like always come into his shop, blah, blah, blah. He was like, yeah, he's doing so well with his business. Have you heard of him? And I'm just thinking, oh, he doesn't really know anyone in like, you know, that kind of industry, like the makeup industry.
Yeah.
And he shows me your brand. I was like, how do you know this? He was like, yeah, he's really lovely, da da da. And then we got to talking. I was like, no, I want to, based on like what he was saying about you, I was like, no, he's someone I need to sit down with.
Oh no, so again, like your partner, like I've supported what he's done since I ever heard about it. I literally remember sometimes we'd go out on nights out in London, and then I'd get a car all the way home, and I'd be like, no, I need to just nip into the shop first. I'd be dying of a hangover, and I'd go in and I'd just buy everything, because again, I just love that. I love the brand first and foremost, but I really love your partner as well. He's such a lovely man, and I'm so happy that you're together. That's just a beautiful couple, which makes me so happy. But yeah, that's what a crazy world. No, but seriously though, you really are a beautiful couple.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, no, stop. He's gonna hate this. He's gonna watch this and be like, what am I hearing? When someone looks at someone like yourself, you know, you think, oh my God, he's done incredible things. And being someone who's literally stalked your journey from the beginning, I feel like I've really done like a lot of looking into you, what you're about, etc. And you were doing incredible things from when you were young. Like, you've been in this for a long time.
Yeah.
But before we even tackle all of those various things that you've done, I want to talk about success. I want to talk, because sometimes I feel like when people become successful in their life, I always wonder, is this something you've always seen for yourself? Is this a position that you've always kind of envisioned yourself getting into?
That's so interesting, because I feel like when I was younger, way before any of this happened, whatever this is, I had never really seen an example of success in what I have it now, you know, if you know what I mean. Like my mum didn't really work since I was about the age of 10, and my dad was a bus driver all his life. So I thought success was driving the buses, and it is to some people, you know what I mean. But I didn't realize that as I got older, that it would be a completely different thing to me. So I don't know if I ever thought of myself having what I've got now and building what I've done now, but I definitely always saw more for myself, but I just never knew what, because I think when you were a kid as well, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like I've done it all. I've lived a few lives in my short time span. And again, I think I've always just tried to find my path, and I do feel like I'm on my solid path now, but who's to say that won't change again in a few years? Because I do think you've always got to evolve in life. So yeah, I always knew I wanted something amazing in life, but who doesn't, you know? But I never knew that I wanted this, you know? It kind of didn't just happen, because that's a completely wrong way of saying it, but it did kind of just fall into place with the right actions put into place as well.
It's interesting, because a lot of the time when people think about success, it's always like, oh yeah, you know, you just said that you didn't have anyone around you who showed you that level of success, but you were still able to kind of see that for yourself. So was there anything that you saw in life that opened up that kind of vision for you?
Do you know what, now that you've said it like that, yeah, something's completely it's been like a light bulb moment. So I remember the first ever, I used to sing in like the pubs, the clubs, the old men's clubs. Like, listen, I was singing all around. I had, from the age of 15, I had an agency, and they used to send me into the clubs and the pubs, like the social clubs. Honestly, wild. Imagine being a 15-year-old singing like Elvis Presley.
I can imagine. Trust me.
Yeah, it was. Nobody listened, but it was character building. It was character building. So I was singing from such a young age, and I'd say I probably stopped singing when I was about 16, 17, and then I started working in my first salon. And at the time, this salon, it was called the Power Patrol, and the girls that worked in the Power Patrol were a lot older than me, maybe like 10 years older than me at the time, and they were super successful. So that was probably the first signs of success in materialistic things, if you know what I mean, that I had seen, and I'd been like, oh my God, I want this. And as a 17-year-old that had never really experienced that, I was like, oh my God, that is success. Little did I know, that is not success at all. It's an element of enjoyment, but it's not success at all. Yeah. To me anyway. Obviously, everyone's different. So yeah, I think that was maybe working in the salon with the girls, and again, I'll treasure those moments forever, because I've learned so much from that. But I think seeing those just kind of live so freely in a way, and not necessarily have to be worried about money and struggles, and that was something that spoke to me, definitely.
I think the freedom is totally like the biggest part. You said something even earlier about like you doing like music, and in my research and looking into you, I was like, oh my God, we have something in common. Can you guess? Yeah.
X Factor.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I auditioned for X Factor when I was like 15 years old.
Oh my God. What did you sing for your audition?
The thing is, we didn't really get in. Okay. So we did like I don't know, I think there's like 3 parts or 3 stages.
It's a real process.
Yeah. So I think we got to go to the, so we weren't in front of the judges or anything, but yeah, it just was not, it wasn't.
See, I've done that part before you had to go to do where they film
the main bits, like
that. So I've done that also before, and then I was in music college at the time, and management. It was actually the people that created All Saints.
Oh,
you know,
the band.
So their management came into so many colleges around the Northwest and asked for auditions. So me and loads of the people that went to this school auditioned, and I was the one that got into the boy band.
Oh, sick.
And again, I was in a boy band. I don't see myself ever being in a boy band ever again. I don't know how I was put in a boy band, to be honest. But anyway, that's besides the point. So then we got into it. We did my first audition. I think we did John Newman, Come and Get It, or something like that. Come and get it if you really want it. That one. You might not know it.
No, I'm like, what
especially not when I'm singing it. But yeah, it was in front of Nicole, Simon, Sharon, and Louis. It was a really good. It was a really good panel. It was a good panel. So then we did boot camp. We got through to boot camp.
Yeah.
And did boot camp, and then we got through to 6-chair challenge, and then we got a chair, and then had it taken away from us. And genuinely, it was the most traumatic thing of my life at the time. Little did I know. Oh my God, that was just a drop in the ocean. But yeah, it was an experience.
It's
you
special.
Know?
That makes me think about just imagining you as a child. So talk to me about what you were like in school. Were you a popular kid? Were you quiet?
I think towards the end of high school, I definitely gained some popularity. But I think beforehand, I was always like the weird one, the nerd, which I'm still like that now. The extravagant one that wasn't really understood by people, as I feel like most gay kids are. You know, they're not really. They don't really fit into a category of people because some people are scared to be friends with them because then they're scared to get bullied for being friends with them. And then others just don't agree with them, or even though they might even understand them at the time. So yeah, I think as I got later on in school, when I started to care less and I just started to focus more on what made me happy rather than what makes other people happy. Then I did gain a little bit of status, I feel, in high school. And I feel like those years of being bullied and separated from other people, I'm so grateful for it. It's made me the person I am today, and it's given me such a thick skin, especially when you work on social. Social is it's ruthless, you know? So I think, especially back in the day when I used to do makeup on myself, I don't really do that anymore because number one, I don't have time. Number two, it's just not really where my path is going now. But yeah, being a boy in makeup and posting those kind of videos on social, like the comments, intense. And at the time, again, I just took it on the chin because I've heard it all before, you know. So again, I feel like those moments, they built me up to where I am now, and they prepared me, you know. Yeah, they prepared.
Did your home environment kind of help you solidify not allowing those, the bullying in school?
Absolutely. Do you know what? Like I always talk to my friends. I've got friends from so many different backgrounds, from different beliefs and cultures, and I love talking with my friends about things like privilege. And I'm such a privileged child, not necessarily in a financial way, but in a sense of love. You know, like I have been given so much love and acceptance over my life. From my parents and my family, and even when they wouldn't understand things, because who does understand when your son, who in the grand scheme of things you want them to play football, but they want to be playing in Cinderella dresses, it is gonna mess with your head a little bit, and that's just part of life and it's part of learning. But I think it's also part of life is part of accepting, you know. And my mum, my dad, my sisters, they have always encouraged me to just be me. So I think that again, like it'd be a lot harder. This is why I always say I'm so blessed, because even though I was bullied quite heavily at school, I always went back to a really loving home. So I was always reminded that if these people don't like me, I do have people that love me. Like you cannot like me if you don't want, but I have my family who love me. And yeah, I do feel like that has allowed me to just keep focused on who I am rather than what other people want me to be, you know?
See, that last statement is literally it gave you room for you to like really focus on who you are.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you were almost forced into it.
Oh yeah, of course. And do you know what? Everybody needs that space, no matter what age you're at in life. Like everybody needs space to almost be nurtured in a little bit, like to have peace and to have acceptance and to make mistakes without judgment. And everybody needs it. And I feel like that is, again, no matter where you're at in your life or who you are or where you're from, I think it's so important to have either a group of people or one person or even just a space where you can just completely be with your thoughts, be with your feelings, and that way you can progressively become the person you're meant to be, you know? So yeah, I'm very lucky that I had that, definitely.
One of the cool things that you said in a conversation, I don't remember if it was like a publication or whatever it was, but it stood out to me a lot. You said that you never really had a moment where you had to come out to your family. And I want to dive into that a little bit more. What does that mean to you? And what was that experience like?
So to me, it's the announcement of saying I'm gay, I'm bi, I'm lesbian, I'm trans, I'm whatever.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel like we need to announce ourselves to anybody else. Why do we have to explain or make anything easier for anyone else to understand who we are if they're not willing to just see it for what it is, you know? To just actually see it with their own eyes. That's just the way I think of it. And again, I know not everyone is in the situation that I'm in where they might have understanding parents, because again, that is the epitome of this entire thing. As if you've got that safe space, you can do that, but not everyone can. So I'm completely aware that that's not everyone's reality. But for me, I never felt that pressure of answering questions about it, because I think your sexuality is something that is so private and personal to each person. So why do we have to then talk about it to anyone, whether it's your mum, your dad, your cousins, your best friends, your haters? Why? Why is that something that has to be spoken about in a question? I just don't understand that. But again, I also understand that everyone has different scenarios, and sometimes it is harder to just live your life freely without actually having those important conversations. To me, it just wasn't important, and it will never be important. And again, when I go on to have kids or whatever I end up doing it later in life, like I won't ever ask them. I'll say, okay, just love who you love, and that's all that. As long as they're treating you good and you're being safe, that's all that I care about. And again, I got that from my mum and dad, you know.
I think the interesting thing is that, you know, when you hear a lot of people who have a similar experience as you, a lot of the time it feels like it affects their identity, because it's like you have to be one person at home, you have to be one person in school, or one person. So did you find that it was easier for yourself to just be me,
you know? But again, it's exactly what you just said. It isn't that easy for everyone, which is, I think it's always going to be a work in progress. I don't think we'll ever be at the stage where like nobody has to not come out. It's a social construct at the end of the day, where being gay or being whatever you are is different to others, but really we're just humans doing our own thing on this planet, you know? So I think the fact that it's become such a social construct, over hundreds of years, I don't think it's ever going to necessarily be banished from society, but I do think that we are on a working path of just not being as pressured into admitting something to someone about your personal life, no matter who they are. Because I'm also really big on this. I think just because someone is your blood doesn't mean you owe them anything sometimes, you know?
How did you, I mean, I agree.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
But making a statement like that and having your family accept that, is not easy.
And you know what, like,
it is not
my
easy.
family are my world. I'll do everything I can. But I think my family would be quite proud of me saying that, because, for example, like I've been so blessed in my life where I've had so many successes, where I've been able to help my mom and help my dad, and my dad retired last year because I was able to help him retire. So there's been so many things, and they know that they're always my priority. But also, I'm a grown man now, and my responsibilities to myself should come first. If I can then stretch it and say, okay, I can help you now, then I will do that. And again, people might not like that, but to me, that's just, I've been through things in my life where I've had to put myself first. And it was much harder to do back then. Whereas now in my life, I'm like, me saying that and me putting me as number one does not mean I don't love the people around me. And I think if anyone was to take it that way, that's kind of on them, you know? That's kind of on their insecurity in not being so secure in what they're bringing to the table. Like, I'm bringing what I bring to the table, so we can all be so equal with each other, you know? Yeah.
When you say that you had moments where you had to put yourself first, what kind of stuff sometimes you have experiences that really shift how you feel about things.
Again, like I feel you really did say it was going deep. Actually, let me just have a drink. So again, like I'm not going to speak too much into it, because it's not really all my story to talk on. But it kind of is at the same time. So when I was in school, my mum had quite a problem with alcohol. So from a young age, she's an amazing human being. She's been through a lot. She as everyone has, you know. Literally. But again, she held it together for nearly 42 years. Yeah. And then I think she just hit a breaking point and then struggled. And at the time, I didn't understand it, of course. I was maybe 12 years old, or maybe even younger at the time, actually. I didn't get it, and I resented her for it for a very long time. But over the years, I've really grown to let that go because, again, she's my mum, but she's still a human being. And we all have our moments, you know, even if it's a long moment that takes a few years sometimes to get over. But yeah, I think I had to look after myself a lot from that. And again, now looking back, I'm so grateful for it because I wouldn't have done the things that I've done by myself. I've traveled the world by myself, and I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for my mum making me be so independent and face it. So again, I don't wish anything was different. I really don't. That my life has been exactly the way it's meant to have been. But yeah, my mum has, she's come a long way, and I'm so proud of her because she's really been on such a journey. But again, there's no denying that it wasn't always, the grass wasn't always green, you know?
You know what, this time last year, maybe 2 Christmases ago, I actually went away with one of my really, really close friends. I went back to her hometown and I didn't really know the core of like her upbringing, but going to her hometown is where I really, really found out. Like she had a very similar experience with you where she had to really look after herself because her mum was dealing with alcohol issues throughout her childhood. But the difference, I guess, in you guys' dynamic is I think where she's at now, obviously she's come to full acceptance of it and knows it. But there's sometimes letting go of like that hurt of having to like grow yourself as a child. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
And I can gladly say I am fully over that now.
Yeah.
But it took a long time. I remember sometimes like I would just cry myself to sleep because I didn't understand how my mum was not so present at that time. But again, as I've got older and I've been through things myself, I don't necessarily just see my mum as my mum anymore. I see her as a single human being who has had trauma just like the rest of us. And just because you've had a baby, because does not mean that all goes away, you know? So I think, again, it's a journey and there's no way you can rush it and there's no right or wrong way of dealing with it. But for me, it was just one day, I feel like it kind of just became a little bit easier. It is an everyday process. But yeah, I think also learning to love my mum again for her rather than just for being my mum. I love my mum as a human being. I also love her as my mum, but my mum is the most insane, flamboyant, extravagant human being, and that's me. That's where I get it from. So I love that about her. And then I think about her,
like, not just as like as
my mum. But then that allowed me to then love my mum again for my mum. You know, because again, I think we put so much pressure on another construct that. Just because you've had kids, just because you've had kids, that you've got to have everything put together, and I just think that's the furthest thing from reality because it's just not the way that everyone can do it. So yeah, my mum is she's my best friend. She's my best friend. And do we still have arguments? Absolutely. But we're in such a better place now where I can step away from it instead of like staying there and trying to talk her through it. I'm just like, right, okay, you go. I'm going to focus on myself, you focus on yourself, and I'll speak to you in a few days. So, but again, going back to the independence of it, I would have never have had the experiences I've had in life without what we went through. And I don't want to say what my mum put me through, I want to say what me and my mum went through together. Because it's not all my mum's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's life. It's life.
It's life doing what it does.
Yes, exactly. It's the journey of life.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like just from where we're at right now, it seems like a lot of your confidence has really been a part of like a lot of the decisions that you've been able to make and see opportunities in maybe places that other people wouldn't be able to, because you've been able to you've made like quite big decisions and done quite big things even before you launched your brand. Just as an individual, from a very young age, you were doing makeup masterclasses all over the world, traveling with the likes of Jeffree Star and doing, again, masterclasses, and you were doing Saweetie's makeup, all from like freaking 19 years old, a collection with P. Louise and just so much more. So I guess my question is did the confidence to kind of see opportunities in those kind of places and do those big movements come from the confidence that you were kind of given or forced into you from childhood?
Probably, yeah. And again, I think sometimes you don't realize these things until they're presented to you in a sentence like what you've just done. And yeah, then it probably is that, because again, I've been traveling for years and years and years. I've not really done it as much since the end of COVID, but pre-COVID, from the age of like 17, I was traveling like to New York to do masterclasses. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? But I just went for it. And I feel like the spontaneous side of me was loving it. I love being spontaneous. It's like one of my favorite things. I feel like it's organic, it's authentic. Everything that I want my experience in life to be, it's that. So from all the masterclasses, they were insane. I remember in 2019, I think it was like, I did like 42 countries in 1 year. And I did...
You did
42 countries in 1 year, and I did 22 countries in 3 months.
Okay, so how did you, let's just even break it down a little bit, because how did those opportunities even come to place? Like, how did you know to go online and start? What was the process?
At the time, I was doing really crazy makeup. Maybe you've seen some when you were doing the study, like crazy makeup.
You love the eyeshadows.
Oh yeah, the eyeshadow and the stripes of highlighter.
They had to be bright. I was like, every time,
damn. Maybe not one brown smoky eye. But basically, that style of glam was so appreciated in South America.
Yeah.
Like the Caribbean girls loved it, the Argentinian girls loved it, the Brazilian girls loved it. Everyone loved it there because it was all about carnival and just anything bright that really resonated well with them. So I had so many people from the Latin America contact me about doing classes there. But there was this one woman who really stood out to me. She was called Natasha Nina. She's from the Dominican, but then moved to Argentina. And I ended up going to Buenos Aires when I think I was about 18 at this time. It's a 15-hour flight. I flew over there by myself. Never met these people before in my life. And I went and stayed like in the house. I was like, because again, back then I was probably charging like £800 to go all that way for a week.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was not starting on the big bucks. So because I wasn't really requesting anything, because I didn't know what to request. I was doing this all by myself. So I flew all the way there. We did a masterclass, and Natasha she still is the most beautiful woman on the planet. She's just amazing. She's got 2 beautiful babies, and I eventually, because I'd started working with her quite a lot, I just became a part of her extended family in a way. And then that was 2018, and then by the time 2019 came around, we were like, why don't we do a tour? Because me as a makeup artist I was really in demand then by a lot of people.
How did you know to go online? Or when did you even decide to go online?
I think it was just a natural progression.
Okay.
It wasn't like I never decided, right, I'm going to be an influencer or I'm going to be an Instagram makeup artist. It was never that. It was just the next step, I guess. And I think I was so invested back in the day with the old school makeup artists like the Val Garlands, the Pat McGraths, the Alex Boxes, because they used to build insane portfolios, but we didn't really need to do that anymore in my generation of makeup artists. So I started just posting on Instagram like tutorials rather than it being on YouTube, more short form content. And it was obviously really grasped a lot of people and a lot of big names as well. And then we decided to do the tour. I did 22 countries in 3 months. It was just going from one country to another, all by myself.
Wow.
I was in Spanish, Portuguese countries. Wow. I didn't have a clue what they were saying to me. I was like, yeah, we, the sea. I didn't have a clue. Obrigado. I did not have a clue. And again, I got back, and it was the most rewarding experience I've ever had. Yeah. Again, being from such a small town, like you mentioned before, I've always heard about experiences in different countries, but at this point I've never experienced it ever. So then being able to experience not just the beauty of the countries, the people, the cultures, it was a real, it's like going traveling, but I was kind of doing it in a way where I was able to see the people that had come to see me in a way, you know? So it was a really unique experience, which can't really be replicated unless someone did the same thing. But I don't know if anyone would be willing to do a 22 country tour and for £800 a time. Anyway, but again, I did it, and it was something that I'll never ever forget. Like some of the countries I've been to, like Bolivia, Peru, Chile. There's just Paraguay. It's countries that I've never even heard of.
How did having that experience before you launched your brand and everything blew up and went crazy? How did that mold you? What did it teach you? Was there like a moment that you were like, I feel different? I think, I definitely, when I got back from it, I was kind of like, I kind of viewed Manchester as a small city then, whereas I felt like Manchester was a big place. I was like, oh my God, this is where I need to be. But now I don't necessarily see Manchester as a small city anymore, because I feel like over the last few years, it's really changed and evolved. But back then I was like, I need something bigger. I need something better. And then that's when I started to go to LA quite a lot. So then that was then the transition from them being like, okay, I just want something else. Like, I'm going to go over there. I'll assist people. I'm such a networker. Like, I could meet anyone on a night out if I really wanted to. I'll find where they are. I'm like, hi guys, how are you? I'm Mitchell. Do you want me to do makeup? So I literally did that. I was in LA like
2 weeks out of the month, every single month. I was staying on my friend's sofa over there, just riding it out, waiting for my big break. And then eventually I did a video with Nikki Tutorials. So Nikki Tutorials had got in touch with me. Yeah. And this is, I think I'd just turned 19 at this point.
Wow.
And she flew me and my best friend out at the time to Amsterdam to go and film with her. And after that, that was when everyone kind of wanted a piece of Mama Mitchell in a way. That night we did a video using the KKW and Mario palette, like one of the.
Wow.
This was how long ago it was, because she would have been like one of the first people to get it. So I did one eye, she did the other.
Oh my gosh.
And then Kim and Mario reposted it.
Yeah.
So then when Kim reposted it, I was like, oh my God. Imagine being the small town boy. I was like, Kim Kardashian knows who I am.
Oh my gosh.
And then Mario reposted it, and then Mario invited me to his masterclass, and it was a whirlwind of things after this moment.
Yeah.
And then I remember at the time, a month later, I was in LA, and I was messaging Manny MUA and Jeffree Star at the time to film with them. This was, God, how long ago was this? Maybe 2018, I think this might have been. A long time ago.
That's crazy.
And we could just never align it. And then they had, was it Dramageddon or something? Do you remember that? It was like Dramageddon.
No.
It was like a big drama that Manny and Jeffree had.
Yeah.
And I ended up then coming home, and then I went back and I ended up filming with Jeffree. And again, that was that. I will never discredit that situation, because that paved the way for me for in so many avenues. It opened up so many doors, and I will always be grateful to that situation for even Jeffree letting me share that platform with him, and the experiences I had from that. We don't speak anymore, me and Jeffree, but it was such an amazing experience, and I'm one of them. Give credit where it's due.
Can I ask why you guys don't speak anymore?
I think it was just we obviously through lockdown. Before lockdown, I was in LA all the time. I'd stay at his house all the time. And then you really are pulling out everything out of me.
Give it to me.
But again, like it was, we spent so much time together, and then lockdown happened where it wasn't obviously easy to travel. So things just distanced, and I think then there was so much going on in the beauty community in the States at the time, and I was just about to start my brand, and I was associated with a few of the influencers over there at the time, all the creators. And when I started the brand, I was just like, right, this is time to focus on me. I actually have something substantial here to lose now. So let me focus on me, and let me only put out what I want to put out into the world, whether that's energy, whether that's communication to other people, other creators. Like this is when I took a step back from the American creators, because it was such a toxic place, and that isn't me. I can't deal with it. Why can't everyone just be nice to each other? Like it's so easy.
Yeah.
So that's when I then took a step from that whole situation. Really.
I think there's a lot more to kind of dig into that, but I'm going to come back to that. I want to just thinking about your evolution, and it seems like one thing led to this and then to this. So how do you feel like that whole experience, or do you feel like that whole experience is what kind of set you up for you being ready to launch your brand? I don't necessarily, not about the launching a brand, but I think doing collabs with other people. Yeah.
So I've done many collabs in like 2 years. So I did, I've done a collab with Beauty Bay. I did a collab with Morphe. I did a collab with P. Louise.
Oh, you did Beauty Bay too?
Beauty Bay, yeah. That was my favorite collab. Oh yeah, I've been doing bits. Yeah, I've been doing bits, and I spent every last penny of it. Let me just tell you that.
I said, Jesus, don't worry, I've been there.
No, I spent every penny of it. But hey ho, here we are. But yeah, I've done so many collabs over the years, and I think that those experiences came from that situation, because again, everyone wanted a piece of me then, because I was associated with the big names in the industry. So it was, again, I'm not stupid, and I'll never sit here and be ignorant to the fact that didn't open up doors for me. But yeah, I think when it comes to the brand was really a natural progression of meeting my business partner now, who is just an amazing woman, and the team that I have now as well. That was really, again, a natural progression of meeting them, and it seamlessly kind of falling into place.
So when things really started to take off for you, a lot of people, or from the outside looking in, it looks like it just blew up overnight, and it was like, wow, he's doing so well, making almost so much money, so much sales. But we know that's not the reality, and that's just not how this thing works.
Absolutely not.
In your own words, how would you describe it?
I think because of the circle I was in pre-COVID, I really did feel like success was having the nicest cars, even though I don't drive and don't have a car. But again, you get what I mean, like having 10 cars, having a million Birkins, all that, like I felt like that was success to me. So I think even once I then came out of it a little bit, I had like this perception of success still in my head. So I would literally spend every last penny in my bank account until I would then be paid by another brand on clothes, on shoes. I'd leave a little bit for rent. It was stupid. It was so silly. But if you looked at me, I was keeping it together. So I probably looked like I had another round to go in my bank, but I definitely didn't. So I think that the whole process of that is realizing that, again, it's what success actually is to you. Some people do think success is bags, shoes, and if that is that to you, that's completely fine. But I think when I realized that I had all the bags, all the shoes, all this, all that, and I still wasn't content or happy or even stable in my life, I was like, whoa, what am I doing in myself? Because I've built something so amazing here, and I'm on the brink of losing it all so quickly just because I've made stupid decisions and I've not prioritized what actually right, you know? So yeah, again, it's been a real awakening over the last year for that, because I think the last year has taught me so much about the actual business in itself, but also then it's taught me a lot about how to actually manage myself and my own spending and investment and all that kind of stuff. Like I've got so many more people in my life now that are putting me on the right direction. But again, I think coming back to before about what we were talking about my mum, I think because I was so independent from so young, I'd never asked for help. So I've never had a manager. I've never had a team that can help me or guide me along the way. So I managed all the beauty bay myself, P. Louise myself, all of it I did myself. I was never getting like a second opinion on anything. And I think doing that,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. But
for that time,
yeah. And I'm glad I did it because it brought me so many lessons that I've now learned firsthand. But again, like I think because of the situation that I had growing up, I didn't ever want help off anyone at that point. So I think the last year I've really learned now that if I want to progress and become a better version of myself and become a more stable version of myself, I need to have help as well. So the last year has been an amazing year for me in that sense. It's really allowed me to solidify my persona, my business, my profession, everything. It's been really, everything's been really set in stone a little bit more this year.
Thinking about just the beginning phase of the brand, you said a lot of stuff that has me thinking. When we're thinking financially, who funded the brand? How did you go about raising money for the brand?
So at the time, it's actually my business partner I met through my collab with Paige with P. Louise.
Oh, sick.
So my business partner created all of Paige's stuff. I did my collab, and obviously in the meetings that I'd have about the products, Marie would sometimes be there. Marie is my business partner.
Okay.
And she basically obviously saw my ideas and saw a spark there, and she wanted to then invest in my idea, which was made by Mitchell. And since then, it has just been the most insane experience of my life. Like, when you start a brand, it is so expensive. And again, at that time of my life, I could have never have done it because I was just spending all my money. I would get paid and I would spend it all the next day. I used to go to Selfridges and go to personal shopping in London, and I'd run up like a £20,000 bill. Who does that? I'm not a footballer. I am not a footballer. I definitely wasn't at that time as well. But again, that was like my normality at that time. And this isn't me gloating or even, this is actually me being a bit embarrassed of that certain time of my life because I could not afford it. So yeah, even though I should have been in a position where I could have afforded to fund my own dream, I just wasn't because I was being so silly. And it's then I met Marie, and I feel like it really is a match made in heaven because she is so, what is the best way to say it? She's so open to my idea, and she knows that my idea is going to be the one that sells. So my idea isn't to just sell, it's to create at the end of the day, but my idea then will sell afterwards. So yeah, it's been a journey because it's been, we actually turned 3 years old just a few weeks ago. Wow. Last week or the week before. And it's been such an insane journey. But yeah, that's how I met Marie, and then she invested, and then it was just insane, really.
What was the moment you knew that you made it? Was there a moment that you can remember to be like, yeah?
I feel like there's been moments where I've thought I've made it, and then I've been the world or the universe or whoever it was has come and knocked me straight back down about a week later. Because when we launched the brand, I remember I got a call. We launched it in COVID. It was October 2020, so everyone was working from home. So at the time, we had 3 people on our team: me, Marie, my investor, and my amazing friend now, and Sarah. All 3, just that was it. And I remember Marie rang me about 30 minutes in, and she says, "Mitch, you've just made your first 100 grand." And I was like, oh my God, in 30 minutes, like, this is insane. We hadn't paid for any ads. We hadn't done any marketing on it. We literally just did it all organically. And again, in that moment, I was like, this is literally 30 minutes in. Nobody's even tried the product yet. Wait until they try the product. I know it's good product because I've been a makeup artist for so long.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put my name on something that is just minor. You know, I want my products to be major. And then I'd probably say about 6 months later, I was like, oh, maybe not. Because launching a brand is one thing, but then keeping it going is a completely separate thing. Absolutely. Like, it's keeping the brand alive. It's intense.
That's where the real work begins.
Oh my God. Launching it is easy.
Yeah.
Launching it was the easiest part. Now is the hard part. Keeping it alive every day. Keeping myself inspired by the brand every day. Keeping the brand inspired by me every day. It's such a circle of... It's such a circle of actions from every single part of the journey and every single part of the team that plays the part in the journey. So yeah, it's again keeping the brand alive is genuinely the hardest part of having the brand at all. Instagram, keep it like posting on Instagram, creating a product isn't that hard. It's like, to me, it's kind of second nature now. And I think like we grew up, me personally, I grew up watching YouTube and I'd watch collabs and I'd be like, I've been working for 3 years on this. I worked so hard on it, and maybe they did, but really that isn't even the hard part of the progress. It is getting it out there and actually selling it, and then keeping the brand alive. That is the most terrifying part.
So how do you do it then? So what have you found? It's now 3 years in. What have you found is now your process to keeping it alive, but also keeping yourself inspired and also keeping people invested in the business?
So I think now we've kind of really hit the nail on the head. We found a platform that really benefited us and we could benefit them with TikTok. TikTok has changed the game for us. And at first, I can't lie, I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm a TikTok or I'm an Instagram brand. I didn't want that because I wanted the brand to be bigger than that. But having that platform has allowed such a boost to then reach so many more people, whether it's on the high street or bricks and mortar or anything like that. For me, it was about just kind of taking the time and being like, right, instead of putting our fingers in 100 pies here, let's put it in one pie. So we did that for a good year. We did TikTok for a good year. We barely even focused on any other platforms. My personal Wunmi Mitchell page is just, I don't even care about it anymore. I'm done. Instagram is dead to me. I hate it.
That's a big statement. Come on.
No, it really is.
I still like Instagram.
I love to scroll on Instagram for other people. I love to watch other people's content.
Yeah, but for you creating
myself
on
as
there.
a creative, I hate it. It's just not for me.
Really? Where do you find your comfort creating platform?
Probably TikTok now. But I think that's probably because it's my everyday job. Like TikTok to me is just, it feeds my fast-paced brain, if you know what I mean. And also that is going back to what you just said before and what you asked. I think that is where we found our niche. We, because of Marie, my business partner, we're in a very unique position where we can be very fast. We can create products very fast. We can have 52 collections a year if we really wanted to. And that is the current trajectory of society now. People want new. But
is that because of TikTok though?
I think it's because of TikTok. Yeah. I also think it's because our consumers are getting younger and younger and younger. And I think their focus span, is it focus span?
Attention span.
Attention span is getting shorter and shorter, which is kind of sad because I love long form content and I will still watch YouTube videos till the day I die. But I think you've got to roll with the times, especially when you've got a business. You've got to evolve. And that's something that I learned very quickly about a year and a half into having the brand, because the brand went completely dead. It was just nothing.
Really?
We were probably doing like 20 orders a month.
Okay, so let's break this down because, so you go from a business that literally made 100K in 30 minutes to a brand that, what figure did you say just now? That was crazy.
Genuinely, we were probably doing 20 orders a month at some point.
What happened? So you weren't, at this point, you weren't active on TikTok. You just
So we weren't active on TikTok at all.
Yeah.
We didn't have TikTok.
Yeah.
We weren't planning on getting TikTok. It was just not on the path for us.
Yeah.
We were focusing solely on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think, again, we launched in lockdown. We've been working on it for a year before lockdown.
Yeah.
So I was so uninspired by life at the time. We'd been locked in our houses. I was looking at this green package and thinking, why did I pick this green? Like, I hate this green so much, but now I love the green. It wasn't the green, it was everything else that
it was
we were
me.
doing. Yeah, it was me. I was just looking at everything so in the wrong way, you know, rather than being optimistic, I was being completely pessimistic, is it? So yeah, it took about a year and a half until I really realized, okay, this is either fight or flight. And I actually remember me and Marie, we actually had a sit down once, and we've always kept it so loving. Like, genuinely, I look at her like a mother figure to me. She's an amazing woman, and she'll always have my back, and I'll always have hers. But I remember we sat down and we was like, what do we want to do here? Because we've come to a bit of a dead end. And she said to me, she said, do you want to carry this on? And I was like, no, this is my dream. Like, I want to carry this on. And thank God we did, because if we given up on it then, we wouldn't have had all the success that we've had now. And we've done millions of orders just in the last year and a bit. It's truly been the most eye-opening experience of my life, because again, going back to Instagram, I genuinely thought my career was a bit done when it comes to social, because Instagram to me is completely dead. But on my side, I'm completely losing followers every single day, which is just I find it quite funny now, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. You know, again, my engagement is just not what it used to be. So at this point, I was like, well, what is left for me? Because when we work in such a social heavy industry, and that's what everyone's income depends on, you think, well, maybe I need to try something else. And thank God I tried another TikTok, another social platform. Because if I just kicked all that off there and then, I would have never experienced the last few years of my life, and it's been probably one of my favourites so far.
So what strategies do you think you use to really capitalise?
I think strategy is important in every sense.
Everything.
But I think strategy is being a community. Community is everything when it comes to Made by Mitchell. It's about interaction. It's about prioritising the consumer before they buy something, not just after they buy something. Like, oh yeah, you buy this and then you join the reward scheme, or you sign up to this. Even something as little as signing up. Yeah. It's making them a part of something even before they've give you anything. Even before they've told you the name, you know? And that to me that's who I am as a person. If I met someone, a stranger on the street who didn't know me, and they needed something, like it's not everything needs to be so transactional. And I think that's the moral of the brand. I think once you take away the transaction on one side and you just give, then people want to give back. And I think it's part of the human tenacity. And I think that's how the spirit of all humans work. Like, sometimes you've got to be given something to then be like, okay, I'll give something back. Sense, yeah. Even if it's kindness, if it's a compliment, it's strategy to me is obviously it's important, but I don't think it always has to be so complex, because humans aren't always complex. Humans can be quite simple when you treat them well. You know, when you treat someone so lovely and you speak to them nicely and you treat people equally, what more really do you ask for? You know, that's especially coming from a brand point of view. Again, this is something that I always love to talk about, because it's something that I think is so important for the next generation of makeup artists to know. For me as a brand, the main thing for me is if I can't make it work for everyone, I won't bring it out. I'll wait. Oh, you know, I won't make it work.
Hello.
What's the point? What's the point in? I remember there was I think was it the Beauty Blender foundation that came out. It was years and years ago. Yeah. And they did basically the 50 Shades, the one with, it was like the squirty, it squirted onto one side so you could put your sponge. The packaging was good. Packaging was such a good idea, but
I remember this one crazy online.
Yes, it was as it should. What? And there was like 40 shades of yellow foundation and then no black girl foundation. And it was that moment like that, it was like, oh yeah, well we'll bring it out if you like it. And I was like, what? Have you heard what you're saying right now? Like that just makes absolutely no sense. And also, it kind of does make sense for the kind of people that are running those teams. Yeah. Like you don't prioritize everyone, you just prioritize a certain category of people.
Yeah.
And again, I've been very blessed in a sense that I've seen all these situations pan out and how they go and how they don't go. And I think seeing that it's I've been educated by it and been like, oh no, this is why everybody needs to be included. Not just so we can sell the product, so people can be seen in this campaign. So someone can look at that picture and see, oh yeah, that might look good on me, or this brand it embodies people like me as well, even though I definitely am not a black woman, I'm a white gay man, you know, but I can still cater to you guys as well. So that was always such an important thing for me. And I think that element of always inclusion is, that to me it's a strategy it's an unconscious strategy because that's in me already. I will always include, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, that's just me.
It's interesting that you say this without me even bringing it up, because it's one of the core things I wanted to talk about today. But I have noticed, I think for a long time, that was one of the core things that drew me to your brand more and more, because I was like, oh, it feels like there's quite like an intentional inclusion of darker shades of us, you know, that's like a part of your brand. And I see a lot of us, you know, being who wear your brand. Like I was saying before, I come on TikTok and, you know, the first thing, it feels like I was constantly being attacked
so sorry.
by your brand. No, in a good way.
No, I know that green package. I bet you said like that, man. Why green?
No, it wasn't even that. It was more so the black women that I saw wearing the blushes and how in love they were with the colors and the shade variations. So it then spiraled my brain into doing more research, and I went down. And I got to like a point of 2020. Obviously, you know, me hearing about you more fully in like 2021. I've gone back to like the 2020 period, and I think there was a post that you had made. And I just wonder if this was like your triggering point to you wanting to focus more on ensuring that you provide more products for black women or black people in general. So just to give you guys some context a little bit, there was like you'd made a post, and this is the first thing I saw. You made a post during the Black Lives Matter movement, like 2020, and like in the comment section, people were like, oh, this is performative, like you work with the likes of Jeffree Star and blah, blah, blah. And I think there was like a lot of mention of you posted like a picture of like Uche and like Mela Child and various other black creators. Yes, I did. And there was like just such a massive, I didn't really understand exactly like what was going on. Obviously it was like quite a while ago, but I think it'll be healthy for us to kind of talk about it a little bit more. And I guess maybe even answer my question, if that was like the triggering point to you wanting to like dive in further and ensuring that you serve us.
I mean, again, it's everything is a lesson to me. Yeah. And again, as we said before we actually started filming, like accountability on everything is always important. But I don't know if that was my triggering moment, because I've always loved to include everyone. Always. I've never seen anyone as not deserving to be included in anything. So I wouldn't say a triggering moment, but I would definitely say that was a time where I thought to myself, do the surroundings I'm in represent who I am? You know, that's exactly how I feel like the best way to describe that. And I think at the time I was young, I was still fully aware of what I was doing. I don't think I was never trying to hurt anyone in a way. I was kind of just excited to be experiencing new things. I was meeting people that I'd looked up to for many, many years. And I think for me, I kind of forgot of what my own model was and what my standard would be with my friends, if you know what I mean. Because these people that I was working with, yeah, we were friends per se, but they weren't my besties, you know, they weren't my family. So I think maybe my standards dropped a little bit when it came to who I was surrounding myself with. But again, I don't think that was the triggering point, because I've always said, like, even through my many years of being a makeup artist, even when I was traveling to South America, like, I was always the one that had all the kit. That say if I did a class with like loads of different makeup artists and they were all teaching as well, I'd be the one with the kit. I'd have every single shade of the Fenty foundation. I invested, that's also what I used to spend my money on as well, foundations. Because someone bought out more than 10 shades and I was like, I'll buy 30 of them. So yeah, it's always been a conscious like effort of mine to do it, but also not because I've felt the need to do it, because I've wanted to do it. It's not a need for me. If you need to do something, then it's not natural to me. So yeah, it wasn't a triggering moment, but I can understand why that maybe would look like that, to be fair, because those moments to me, they weren't from a performative angle. I was genuinely trying to do my part, but at the same time, I can look back now as I'm older, wiser, and see why it maybe with what I was aligned with at that time, it didn't all fit in like that. It didn't mesh well.
I mean, to be honest with you, like it's one thing for something to happen and like you to brush it over and like just move past it. But I think one thing you continuously like demonstrate throughout a big part of this conversation is your ability to just look at things and really like break them down and evolve with the way like your mind is also shifting and take the right actions in order for you to
I remember
grow.
when that actually happened, like I think there was a lot of there was a lot of stuff going on back then. It was just there was always something with someone.
In that 2020.
Oh my god, it was
chaotic.
It was insane. It was chaotic. Everyone was just out for each other.
We were crazy.
Yeah,
everything was insane.
We'd been locked in the house for a few weeks, so we needed it.
I loved it, low-key.
No, I loved it, low-key. I'd love to do it again, but anyway. But yeah, so I think with that whole situation, it was a really strange time where we all had so much emotion built up. And that was actually in that time when I started posting about the Black Lives Matter. That's actually the moment where I started losing followers. Like it was then. And that to me, I was like, okay, bye. If this is what is making you unfollow me, then I'm cool with that. I don't really want you around here anyway. But again, I think from that, it was just like, it was a big wake up call of being like, right, there's people that have followed me and probably supported me for a very long time that don't support the cause that I'm trying to support right now. How have I allowed that? What about me has attracted them here? Do you know what I mean? Because people, it's an intentional thing to follow you.
Someone.
You don't just accidentally follow someone. You follow someone you
follow
like.
what they're about.
And if not, you don't follow them, and then you just bitch about them in the comments. You know. So again, I think maybe that was my realization of thinking to myself, I think I've become a little bit eaten up with my surroundings. I have forgot a little bit of my standard and my morale in life, and that was to me where the change came. But again, when it comes to inclusion, that's always been like my number one thing in my life. Why not? Like, again, growing up in a place where people don't have much, I think even on that side of it, everyone should have that opportunity, no matter where you come from, no matter what money you've got in your bank account, no matter what skin color you have. Like, it genuinely doesn't make any sense to me why people shouldn't have that, but it's just such a shame that we're just not there yet. But hopefully I can be part of the change of it, and that would be my greatest honor of life. So then that I can just do something, even just something small, that would be a genuine, that's my dream, you know, just to make people feel seen, heard, and give them a safe space to ask questions and have conversations like this. These are so important. And I feel like conversations like this make people a little bit less scared to ask questions and also make mistakes. Mistakes are so important to make. And even if you make mistakes that sometimes you can't go back from, at least you've got something in your head where it's like, I was so wrong there. And if not, then I don't know what to say to you, but mistakes should hit you in the face and you should be like, whoa, I need to switch something about here, no matter how big or small they are.
What's a memory that you're going to cherish forever? Since you started this journey, what is the memory when I ask that question that pops into your mind automatically?
Do you know what? I think one of my biggest memories was when I opened the Morphe store in Manchester.
Wow.
That was just like, again, being in my hometown and walking out, there's thousands of people. I was like, this is insane. Because again, at that time, I'd only seen the big YouTubers do it, like the Jacqueline Hill, the Jeffree Star, the James Charles. Who else had done it? There was a few of them that had done it. And again, I'd seen them do it. They're on like a completely different level to what I was back then. And being able to do that in my own little way, in my own home, that was something I'll always remember. And then the pop-ups with Harrods as well. I think it's been really nice to be respected alongside the big dogs, because we are a TikTok brand and it's easy for us to just get lost in that. But we work so hard not to just be a TikTok brand. We give TikTok everything, but we still need to keep our longevity and a standard of class in a way. And Harrods has been such an amazing experience with that. Like, I remember me and my mum, we used to come down in the 6 weeks holidays when I was a kid, and my auntie lives in Croydon with her niece, with her daughter, my cousin. And we used to go to Harrods during the 6 weeks holidays, and we wouldn't even go in because we couldn't afford to. Well, you can go in, but you know, there's no point. We just walk past. But then to think that my brand is in there, it's a very full circle moment. And again, things like that, achievements like that are just, they mean so much more than just being in Harrods. You know, it's like a real like, wow. anyone can do it if they really want it, you know?
How did that moment, because, you know, a moment like seeing your brand that you've worked hard on, sitting in Harrods, like it must shift something in you.
Oh my God.
Did it take you back to like your childhood self? Like, wow, I've really come far.
So the first one we did, we've done loads of them now. We've done them all around the UK because Harrods have HQ is...
You said we've been about UK.
We've really done it all over. But yeah, the first one we did was in Bristol. And Bristol it's one of the smaller stores that aren't as busy. So I feel like I was so glad about it because I really got to take in the experience and even just see the brand alongside the Kylie Cosmetics, the Charlotte Tilbury's, the Pat McGraths, all of those brands next to me. I was like, what is going on? This is insane. Those brands that I've been using for years. Yeah. It was a pivotal moment to be like, okay, if we really want to take this somewhere, we can. And that has just been stuck inside me because now it's just like, I just want to keep going. Just keep going.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm excited for you.
That's such a beautiful journey.
Oh, thank you.
What?
It's been a crazy journey, yeah.
I want to just ask, because there was one thing that you always say, I can't remember exactly what it is or what the slogan is, but you always talk about like the importance of working hard. But you match it with something that I believe a lot as well, but I can't remember exactly what the statement is, but I guess the essence of it is that work hard, dream big, but dream as big as you're able to kind of see. Do you know what slogan I'm talking about?
I mean,
you have it on like your palettes, or you have it in your beauty room, and
it's called Feet on the Ground, Head in the Clouds.
That's the one.
So that was actually the name of my first ever collection.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, it's about being grounded. And again, this is another thing that my mum has taught me so much of. Listen, my mum, she can really put me in my place. Just as I could put her in her place, we put each other in our places. And that's the beautiful thing. She's my best mate at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So being able to keep that gravitational pull on yourself, rather than being reminded of it sometimes. Sometimes you have to learn to remind yourself. And again, I learned that so quickly as lockdown started. Again, I'd been spending all my money. This is kind of where that kind of came from. I thought it was a big dog. I remember one time, it was the first time I had over £100,000 in my bank account. I'd never had that. And I spent it all. I was like, okay, where's it gone? And I just was hoping that another brand deal would come in so I could then do something else. And again, that whole slogan isn't just about money, but again, it was a real slap in the face from myself at that point, if you know what I mean. It was a real moment where I just thought to myself, how am I ruining such hard work that I've put on myself? I've invested all this effort into myself, into my journey, and I'm just letting it go like that because I want something that isn't actually real, you know? So then it was like, feet on the ground, head in the clouds. You can dream as big as you want, but you've just got to remember that there's a path that you need to follow.
What do you consider that path to be?
I think everyone's path is different. I think my path is treating people with kindness, always. I think it's listening to people because they might know a lot better than you know. I think it is listening to your own self in a big way. And again, it's what we were saying before, it's intention. It's balance.
Number one.
Yeah. I think, but again, everyone's journey is different, but I think there is a little bit of a general strategy that you can follow for everyone on that journey. As long as everyone does stay true, authentic, kind, compassionate. How can you really go wrong there? You know, people might do you wrong in the time being, but I think as long as you stick to knowing exactly what you want in your life and knowing that you can do it, then it's a straightforward path for me after that.
I want to just ask you one question just on this topic. You said before that you were like an epic networker, okay? So like, what's the number one epic networking moment for you?
I mean, well, look at all the people that I filmed with. That was literally just for me being like, hello, can I just come to your house and film with you? Like, back then, again, all those people that I was associated with, they were just like my dream YouTubers back then. So I've never been afraid of putting myself in a room that people don't know who I am, ever. I've never been afraid of that, ever. Even Saweetie, for example, when I did Saweetie, I actually met Saweetie's auntie, who at the time was Saweetie's manager. I think I met her on a night out or at an event or something like that. And I was like, but because Saweetie is my life icon, I am obsessed with her. I think she's just, I remember from when she did the old rap videos in the car, like that's when I remember her from. So being able to do her makeup many years on when she's hit such fame and such stature again, full circle moment. But I remember we was at an event and I went up to her and I was like, so your Sweetie's, you run Sweetie's team, aren't you? And she was like, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, I would love to do Sweetie's makeup. I enjoy Sweetie's music so much. I respect her so much. I've always kept it very respectful. And again, it's having the gauge of when the time is right. 'Cause sometimes people do not want to hear it. But again, I've never been afraid of putting myself in that box and being like, okay, I know I don't belong here right now, but I will belong here one day. So yeah, Sweetie was a good one because I was actually meant to do her makeup before lockdown. Anyway, lockdown happened, didn't end up doing it. And then I got a message from Sweetie's auntie, Whitney. And she had messaged me saying, do you know any makeup artists in Paris? I said, yeah, I met myself. I'll be there. So again, not Paris. Yeah,
I'm from there.
I said it's like a 20-minute flight.
Literally
like, that's it. Like, yeah. Oh my god, I can get there in 5 minutes. But again, it's that drive, and it's I suppose a little bit of desperation to fulfill your journey needs in a way. Not your needs again in any other way, but your needs to be like, oh my god, I want to feel this satisfaction that I've completed this and I've achieved this. And I knew that Sweetie would love my glam. So when we did it, Sweetie, by the way, is just such a beautiful person. She's so calm to be around. Like, you're in there and it's just like everything's so zen, and she's kind of like you in that sense where I came in here, I was like, oh my god, this is so calm. I was like, wow, it was amazing. But again, that energy, again, that's so lovely to be around though. Yeah. And again, I think especially with your job as well, and this is just spinning it on you a little bit, but with what you do, to be an interviewer, you have to have that. Like, you can't command the room too much. You've got to ease your way into that room, and I think you do it so perfectly. You really do.
Thank you.
You really do, honestly.
That's really lovely of you to
You've
say.
made me feel very comfortable.
Oh, no,
I don't know if it was
I'm
the
blushing.
Prosecco or if it was you, but maybe it was a Prosecco.
Maybe it was a Prosecco, maybe it was me, maybe a bit of both. But I did want to talk about, because I think it's important, you know, working is like an important part of my life. Like, working is important, obviously we know that, but working is only one aspect of life. So just even as you, Mitchell, like, how are you doing? How are you handling everything that life is throwing at you?
I am doing my best. Don't get me wrong, it is not easy running a brand and also then making time for yourself. That's one thing that I've really never mastered. But again, balancing the personal and professional. Yeah. It's not something that do you ever really master that? Yeah. Really, truly. But I'm good, and I know that what I'm doing now is gonna be it's a really important step for me to take for my future self, which is something that I've never done in my life. I've always just thought about the present. I'm like, oh my god, well, I want to do this, so I want to buy this, or I want this now. Whereas I want so many things now, but I can't have them right now. So I've got to wait. I've got to put in the work, and I've come to terms with that massively. I'm like, I actually enjoy waiting now and being like, it feels like an accomplishment when you wait a little bit longer for something. I always think you feel like you've grafted for it.
How long did it take you to kind of get to that space?
I'd probably say only in the last 6 months that's happened. No. Again, no, seriously, like, I took on one of my friend's friends, so my best friend Holly, her best friend's sister, she's called Janine, and she's a business manager, so she's managed footballers all her life. She's managed so many people, and she met me when I was really at rock bottom. I'd just moved back to Manchester. I had the worst credit, so I couldn't really get this apartment. It was a beautiful apartment that I just moved out of, so I paid 12 months upfront rent on this apartment, which is not a good idea because I had no money left after that. So she really met me when I thought I'd moved into this apartment. I was like, this is the best thing ever. But really, it was the worst thing because I had nothing left after that. So she met me at rock bottom, and she's really just built me up so emotionally as well. Not just in the sense of like, oh yeah, I want to take money from you. Yeah. She's really guided me along a path that I needed to go down that I wasn't going to do by myself because I just would always ignore it and just get myself in further and further, you know? So yeah, I think in the last 6 months, I've really started to then take control of that journey myself. And I'm like, okay, I can give myself limits. I can give myself a guide myself without being told it now. Yeah. So yeah, I'd really only say the last 6 months have felt like that.
So did she come on as kind of like a manager?
She's my business manager now. Oh, so okay. She's completely separate to Made by Mitchell, but it all works hand in hand. Yeah. But she manages my finances. She allows me to, like, I'm buying an apartment, so she's just allowed me to buy an apartment with getting a mortgage, and she's a crazy woman. She's got some crazy ideas and she's got some crazy connections, which is, I feel like, something I was missing myself personally, because I always was so shut off to the business world. I was like, no, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. So yeah, she's my business manager now, and I don't know what I'd do without her. Really, it's amazing. I've got lots of strong, powerful women around me.
No, a blessing.
Oh yeah, a real blessing.
And I feel like you only attract those type of things or those type of people based on like who you are.
I think when you're ready for it as well. When you're ready for it. Because I know the women that are in my life right now wouldn't be in my life if I wasn't going to listen.
Yes, if you didn't do what you needed to do.
And if I wasn't if I completely ignored them, they wouldn't even waste their time, because their time is priceless, you know. So I know that everything has fallen into place so beautifully. And again, I think we all came into each other's lives when we were meant to. And I think especially coming up from my side, I'm so glad it happened when it did, because I don't want to waste anyone's time, you know. And the people I have in my life, I hope that I'm bringing something to them just as they're bringing to me, you know. So yeah.
And I think it just goes off of what we were talking about just before the cameras started rolling about intention, you know, and being able to kind of endure whatever season you're in, and like not trying to like miss the steps of the various seasons you're in. And I think your life right now, this stage of your life right now, is a representation of someone who has been willing over time, even like in moments where you didn't even know, because as a child, like, how do you know that the fact that you're moving and operating even though your mum is battling so much?
Oh, you really don't know.
You don't know, but you're still doing what you have to do. You're still grasping. And I think your life is such a reflection of someone who's been able to really sit in every season that life has like placed on your lap.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, and I'm so proud of that for myself.
Yeah.
But again, with the intention thing, I think everything in life, as we were saying, the result will always be determined on the intention that you put into the actual action of trying to get that result, if you get what I'm saying. So whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in a job role or intention, even just speaking to someone, how do you want to make them feel? I think it's something that you can't really be taught. I don't think. I think you've got to learn it. Teach it to yourself. You teach yourself, so you can be taught, but not by other people. You've got to be faced things in life that wake you up and shake you a little bit. And then you think, oh my God, even if it's like just an awakening of like, I've realized this. That's to me what is important. Those moments in life that everyone will have at some point, now or then, that you reach a point and you say to yourself, okay, like I know that I've not been doing this the right way, in my way, that benefits me and benefits the people around me. Because I've had so many of them, and I feel like I'm now at a place where I can fully understand that intention is everything. Because I feel like I've heard that for many years, and I'm like, what does that even mean?
Oh, you're like, I agree, but like barely.
You're like, I agree. What do you mean intention? Because again, it's hard to be so specific, because your intentions are different in every single scenario. Like, what is your intention? Something with when you want to stand your ground and you still want to have the correct intention is completely different to the intention of being in a situation where you're sorry, you know? Like, it's the intention, it's a whole nother ballpark, but I think the simplicity of it comes from is just doing the right thing and really reading the room. And I think that's where I learned it myself.
No, I love that. Yeah. I want to talk about relationships a little bit, because that's another area of your life that seems like quite important to you from the stuff I've seen. You said before that there was like a period where you really had to like fight for your partner.
Oh yeah.
and bring that back into your life. So walk me through that journey.
So me and Connor have known each other for many years. Yeah. So I actually knew Connor through his ex. And I know it's a wild scenario, but yeah, I met him through his ex, and we were just friends for many years, and we only got together about 3.5 years ago. And I, in lockdown, moved down to Bristol from Manchester, thinking that the grass is green. I was like, we've been stuck in the house for 2 years, like I want something different. And I was severely not ready for it. This was in my time where I was spending all my money. There was a void that needed to be filled, and I thought that moving to Bristol was going to be that. But the void it couldn't be filled by anyone but me, you know, at the time. So I think when I moved there, it was the right thing to do in a sense, because now we know we learned how to live with each other, which is a hard thing to do. It's not easy. Yeah. But it's also was the wrong thing, because again, I did it with the wrong intention. I did it to fill a void. I didn't do it because I wanted to. Yeah. You know, I did it because I was like, oh my God, I think this is going to be right. It wasn't because it wasn't because I wanted to even live with Connor. Like, it was because I was like, me and Connor need to live together because that's what the next step is.
Yeah.
Who makes that the next step?
Yeah.
You know, who said that?
Yeah.
So then me and Connor ended up ending things for about 4 months in August last year. And it was such a hard emotional experience because that was my first ever real long-term relationship that I'd had. I feel like in the gay world as well, which is, again, I think something that's so important to talk about. You don't really date in school. You don't really have like your first boyfriend, your first kiss in school. So your dating life happens so much later. It happens like after you're 18, maybe even when you're 20. For me, it started so much later. And I think that's what a lot of people maybe can't understand. Like, for me, I didn't know how to have a boyfriend. I'd never experienced it. I also didn't know how to be loved as well. It was weird to me. I was like, I've never really had this. And I feel like a lot of my friends at the time who were girls who have been in hetero relationships, some of them have been in with the boyfriends for 14 years. And it's like, I could have never have had that because I wasn't even out then.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there was any gay people in my school at the time. So I feel like when we were last together, there was a lot of maturing that needed to be done on both sides. Me personally, I just needed to learn to face the fact that I can't always have control in situations. And that is what a partnership is. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we ended up getting back together just after New Year. So we had a good 4 month. It didn't feel like 4 hours at all. We had a 4-month break, and I swear to God, for 4 months, I sent him a voice note every day, reading poems and all this nonsense. But at first it was like, that's so cringe, but like, it's also part of my journey, and I'm not afraid to wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's one thing I'm very proud of as well, because about 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done that. I was a real hard-faced biatch.
Wow, I can't imagine that.
Just because of, again, everything that I've gone through in life. I just think sometimes I used to think emotions weren't necessary, but now I love having a good cry. Oh my God, it's amazing. I could have one right now.
Just last night, I was in bed like, wow, thank you God for life.
Yeah, no, literally. Even if because crying isn't always a bad thing.
No,
in fact, I think crying is always a beautiful thing, even if you're letting out negative emotions.
But yeah.
But yeah, we're really good now though, and I think we've learned boundaries, which is definitely something that we didn't have the first time around. We've definitely respected each other a lot more as well. And we've also given each other a bit more space because it's so important to still have your life. Like,
yes,
you can't
100.
I don't want to be Mitch and Connor. I want to be Mitch and Connor, and then Mitch or Connor.
Yes, exactly.
I don't just want to be us two. And Connor doesn't want that either. Like, I don't think that's something that you should want long term. No matter what stage you're at in your life, you need to have things that make you happy that are separate from your partner.
Yeah.
And I learned that so heavily the last year. And I'm so grateful for it, because again, I think that's what's even then allowed me to then be so focused on the brand as well, because my brand is what makes me so happy. So rather than putting that on the back burner, I've been like, okay, this is what's like gonna benefit us both later in life, but this is what's feeding my fire at the minute, you know? So yeah.
I love that. So what is next for you? What is this next season? Because right now it seems like you're in a space where you have a better understanding of life, which is, by the way, like the best part of life. Like once you feel like you've grasped this thing, it's like, okay, cool, there's peace. So what is next?
What is next? I think Made by Mitchell is just growing at a rapid scale. It's insane. I actually couldn't even say what is happening in the next 3 years, because that's probably going to happen in the next 6 months. We've had so many realizations over the last year that if we really want to make our 10-year plan happen, we could probably do it in 3 years. So our time scales have been minimized so much because we've really figured out our strategy and our formula. But I think what's next for me
as a person, there's Made by Mitch.
Oh yeah, Made by Mitchell. Well, what's next for Made by Mitchell? Complexion is launching next year, so we're launching over 75 shades of complexion products.
Oh my god!
It's going to be the most insane launch. And again, it's not 70 shades of white and then 5 shades of black. It's everything's evenly distributed. We've got all the undertones. That's a project that I've been working on for so long now. So and again, because I've always said, unless I can't make it work for everyone, I won't do it. So that's why it's been put off. I started working on it just as we started the brand, but it's been back and forth. So that's launching next year. So that's for the brand. There's so much coming for the brand. And then for me personally, I'm just about to buy my first property, which has been a journey, a road, an absolute road show actually. Because again, like this time last year, I couldn't even afford the apartment I was living in. Never mind, actually put a deposit down on an apartment and buy an apartment.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what's next for me. And I'm trying now to get into my interior side of creating.
Okay.
Because that's something that feeds my soul as well. So yeah, there's so much coming, and I feel like every day is different. But I think what's next is just focus on being me. You know, being me because I love me.
And loving every element of all of it.
Exactly, and even the bad parts of it, like enjoy it, learn from it. The best thing that you can get in life.
So before we end things off, I have a part of my show called the Bello Box.
Okay.
Bello Box, you know, obviously my surname's Bello, so my box is just
What
like
a gorgeous last name, by the way.
Oh, stop it.
Bello.
I do really love it.
Yeah, it's
like
beautiful.
I'm like, thank you, Dad.
Yeah,
what
stunning.
a family. Like,
Thank you,
I love
Dad.
it. So yeah, in the Bello Box is basically like a surprise. Like you never know what to expect.
Okay.
So I obviously told you to bring some bits from the Made by Little brand, you know. And I'm gonna let you know what we're gonna do with this. Let me grab it and then talk about it a little bit more.
Okay, let's do it.
It's so heavy. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Insane.
I haven't been to the gym today, so maybe this is like my part. Cool. So I'm gonna put the box right over here. So in the box today, there's many other things, but the main thing we have in the box right now is some Made by Mitchell products. And obviously you, at one point in your journey, right, before you evolved and you continue to evolve, doing people's makeup was your thing.
Oh yeah.
And I love makeup, I do. However, I am a scaredy cat.
Okay.
I don't really do too much, right?
Okay.
You know, I just like a soft, you can see like, you know,
Yeah,
blush is
soft,
like my,
diffused.
do you know what I mean? I'm a blush babe, love blush. Eyeshadow, don't touch me, I'm scared. But today is an exception because we've got your products here. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
Okay.
Basically to retouch, redefine, re-something, re-up my makeup.
Okay.
And see what you can create
Let's do this.
in 5 minutes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we got time.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna sit.
right, I feel like the best way to elevate your makeup look, this is a glitter liquid,
Okay.
but it's the most beautiful like soft glam smoky vibe. So this is Bubble Trouble. It looks like this.
Bubble Trouble, hey.
This is more like, so have you ever heard of Drip Drip? Have you heard of that? No. So Drip Drip is one of my like
one of
most
your
best-selling products.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So Drip Drip is a silver glitter, but this is more like a bronzy glitter.
Okay, sick.
So this is such a nice way just to elevate the eyes a little bit. In a soft way without being like too insane. Like look.
That's a beautiful colour, by the way.
Just take your finger.
Yeah.
Tap, 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 tap. And this on your complexion as well is so special.
Do you miss this? Doing makeup on people?
I still do it now and then. I do miss doing it, how much I used to do it. But I also feel like, again, evolution, you know, you've got to
Evolve.
You've got to like switch it up sometimes. Again, when you actually blend this out, how I'm doing it right now, it looks like a fairy has just blown glitter on your eyes. So it's not like dead sharp. It's just like a sprinkle.
Nothing too crazy, which is what I love. To be fair.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you feel crazy. Just.
I don't mind whatever you think I need. If
I mean, if you ask me, I don't think you need anything, but.
Thank you. Can this also be used for other parts of the face?
Yeah, you can use it as anything you want. I use these as eyeliner as well, you know, to add like a little bit of like an extra pop.
Yeah.
I mean, how stunning is that, guys?
Hello.
But okay, my favourite product I've ever created, the curve case.
Okay.
So this is probably my proudest product I've ever done.
Okay.
This is what it
Why
actually
is
looks
that?
like.
I've seen this. I've seen the girls go crazy. This is the contouring and the
yeah, it's insane. Can
Yeah,
you
I've
pass
seen
me
this.
a
I'm not gonna lie.
M4?
I've seen this. This one.
It's so good. It's so good. And again, do you know what? One of my favorite comments from someone saying about this, they said, someone said, this is the first time I've ever seen a product that looks like it's made for me. And that was just a beautiful thing to hear. It was.
Shall I use my hand this time? Or yours?
I mean, look at this. So this has got like so much warmth to it.
Oh my god, beautiful.
So on your complexion, that warmth, I feel like when it comes to bronzers, is harder to find.
Yeah.
So that kind of red undertone is just, I mean, stunning.
Halfway through, 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes
We got
left.
time. Add in some bronzer. And again, this formula goes well over powders and whatever else you've got on it on the skin already.
I love your brush, by the way. What that feels like a.
This isn't. So this is the MF4. I did actually forget to bring a brush set for you, but I'll get you some brushes sent out so you can try.
This just feels amazing. I'm such a brush person now. I used to be like into
oh my
sponges,
god, me too.
Brushes?
Yeah, brushes to me are just like it.
Elevation. So are those other complexions for blushes?
So there's 2 warmer bronzers and 2 more neutral bronzers.
Okay.
So you've got like more of a sculpt. So that's when I'll then go into this is Shade and Laid. I'll blend and snatch, sorry. And then with this one, what I'll do is I'll add this a little bit more into the hollows. So right here. Oof, she's snatched.
Hello.
And I always like to take it a little bit around the forehead as well, just to melt everything in together.
Wow, the sun came out just in time. Hey.
And then we've got blush. So you like a pinkier blush?
I love whatever blush is going to
We've
suit
got
me.
to use a blush, okay? We have to use a blush.
I've heard a lot about your blush.
Okay, I hope good.
No, very good.
Okay, cool.
Very, very good.
So I like to put it on the back of my hand first. This is just me being the MUA that I am. Like everything goes on my hand. Like that's just the way I do it. I'll use my same brush. Yeah. Always use the same brush. That way it allows your bronzer and your blush to merge together beautifully.
I never actually use liquid.
Oh, do you not?
Never. It's my first time.
Come on now.
1 minute left.
Oh!
1 minute!
And I'll just tap this onto the cheek. And it will bring the skin back to life. So it'll give you that shine.
Oh, this is a lovely color.
Mm-hmm. Posy rosy.
Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh. But it's not like liquidy.
Oh no! So this is a satin matte,
lovely.
so it will set to a satin powder finish. But because it's satin, you still get the sheen out of it.
Amazing product.
Oh my god! Look at that. Okay, how long left?
Oh, 10 seconds.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Ah!
You've got this.
Right, a little bit on the lip as well, because
cool.
you can always go with a bit of blush on the lip. And this just ties it all in together.
Ten seconds.
10.
5, 4, 3.
You can stop. We're done.
I love it.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it?
Well,
Look
they're
at
gonna
them
let us
cheeks.
know. Do we love it? Do you guys love it? Let me know.
I know,
I'm
please
loving the
love it.
blush. More importantly, it's so good.
How pretty.
I'm a blush babe. So can I just question? Can I use these ones for blushes as well?
Oh yeah, these are blushes.
Okay.
I wanted to show you 2 different formulas.
Oh, got you,
but
got
yeah,
you, got
so
you.
these are, it's a very similar shade to that what I just used on you. But
Okay.
again, these are so
Oh my
gorgeous
God,
as
you
blushes. Like,
blessed
look
me.
at
Are you
this.
taking these back?
No, you can take.
These are mine.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't give a gift and then take it back.
Yeah, amen.
But look at this. This is like such a beautiful shade
Yeah,
for
that
you.
is so nice. I'm a
Stunning.
blush babe. This is amazing.
Listen,
Thank you.
there's
This was amazing.
There's like lip liners, eyeliners in there. That
Oh
you can
my
use
God,
as
it's
lip liners.
Christmas. December is actually tomorrow. Are these lip liners?
No, they're eyeliners. But they're more colour pencils, but they are the best lip liners. They're so good.
Oh, they're also good for lip lining.
Yeah, perfect. And they ain't budging.
Hello.
But yeah, no, they ain't. She knows.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We just wanted to round off the conversation. I am so happy with how today went.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like there was just a really beautiful aura in the room.
Yeah, no, for real. I think we kind of said that was going to happen from when you first came in. Like we were like, yeah, no, it's about to be a great one. So you're such an amazing person. I can't wait for your journey to just evolve.
Thank you. You too. I can't wait to see the Wunmi Bello show. Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me.
Woo!
The WB show.
Amen. Oh my God, you got the gist already.